Greetings, fellow Poltermasters. Greetings, fellow Poltermasters. I'm Crash Rowsell, and it's once again time to Crash Skylanders with another Top 30 video. And I say another like I've done this before, but I haven't. The most I've done is 10. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this Top 30 special video. And what's so special about it? You say, well, in 2 days' time, I'm turning 30 years old. That's right, your favorite SkyTuber is turning 30. He's on the internet talking about a game meant for children, or a younger audience for that matter. Never meet your idols, kids. It's not worth it. I'm 30. I'm turning 30. 30 years old. Oh gosh. I think I'm having a midlife crisis right now. Hope it's only a quarter-life crisis. Anyways, regardless, as I break down there for a second, I'm still not as old as Jap. Still not as old as Jap. That's all that matters. So today I decided to give you guys a present for my upcoming birthday, which is this Monday here now. So in 2 days here on the channel. Well, in real life too, not just a trample. I decided to give you my top 30 favorite Skylanders. And I'll tell you why in a second. So if you look back at my previous list, I've done 2 of my favorites. So of course I have my top 5 Earth and Life and all those ones. But they don't matter. They're not even worth it anymore. Even though top 5 Magic's still going really good for some reason. Regardless though, my first ever video I made was my top 10 favorite Skylanders, and that was when Trap Team had come out. So Trap Team had only just came out. Supercharged was on his way. I think it was only a few months. Yeah, it was only months later that Supercharged would come out. So if you think about it, that video is extremely dated. Now, along with that, my newest one that I did, my top 5 favorites as of Imaginators, still pretty accurate in my opinion, but it is a few years old, so I decided to do a little updated list and give you my 30 favorites because it is my 30th birthday, you know? Now, I decided to do this list a little bit differently. Now, I could easily have picked all Skylanders from all of them, but I decided to be a little bit fair, and since there's 6 games, 5 times 6 is 30, I decided to pick 5 Skylanders from each game to put into the list, so that at least every single game is represented evenly. Now, of course, there's going to be some Skylanders that are back-to-back from the same game, or one that's way ahead of the other and all that, because there's obviously my number 1 is, but who knows, one of my other ones might be a little bit higher now. But it's going to be interesting to see how that happens. And ever since that video from my last favorites, I've done Odyssey Half Hour, I've done Lux, I've done other playthroughs where, you know, I got to play as the characters more. And of course, some of those movements have moved which way back and forth. The biggest thing about this list, however, is this is my personal opinion, meaning the 30 Skylanders on this list, none of them could be your favorite. You might hate every single one of them, and that's perfectly fine that you don't like the Skylander. As long as you're respectful to me, I'll be respectful to you, and of course, this is a celebration for my birthday, so try to be as nice as you can in the comments, and to everyone else, and let us know your favorite Skylanders once the video's over. But for now, this is going to be a little bit of a longer one. Hope you enjoy this, and I'll see you at the end. Well, throughout the whole video as I'm talking. But for now, let's hop right into number 30. See it 5, 10, 15, 20, 20, 30. Because if I do this, it's just 10. There we go. Like that. That's 30. I can math! About time. It only took 30 years. Let's go to number 30.
Knock, knock. Too late.
Fist Bump became a favorite of mine a few years back when I realized how strong this character is. His massive area damage with the slam down attack just spreads out the damage to any enemy around him, making him one of the best Skylanders to breeze through a playthrough. Bone Bash Rollerball was the one Skylander remake nobody asked for, but is happy that it happened. Making an already great Skylander even better with upgraded moves and taking out any minor flaws from the original character is an amazing idea, turning a great Skylander into perfection.
Bring the sting.
Swarm was one of the first giants I got, and with that happening, it gave me tons of time to give him a fair run, which just showed how much fun this character is. I can't tell you how fast I flew through levels with his hover and shoot moveset. To introduce people to air giants, they did a great job with Swarm. The last Skylander you need to complete a set is always a great feeling once you find them. It's even better when they're great. Point proven with Hot Dog. This is what they should have done with regular Eruptor, but put it in a perfect package with Hot Dog as everyone loves dogs. If you think otherwise, look at this perfect thing and tell me otherwise. Thrillipede is a Skylander I never thought I'd like, as his moveset didn't appeal to me. That is until I played a solid hour as him. He has what I loved, range attacks and close range moves, also mixed with a very charismatic Skylander. In a previous favorites list, I mentioned charisma as something I enjoy, and Thrillipede has it in spades. Now, he isn't as perfect as his villain counterpart in Trap Team, but Pinata and Imaginators is pretty dang close. His already fun moveset gets some added bonuses when you put into the latest game, and it shows that taking an already great concept and keeping it the same isn't a bad thing. Plus, he throws around candy, and who doesn't love candy?
Let the flames begin.
Slinger may have had a fall from grace since the last time he was on my favorites list, but it doesn't mean he isn't as good. Slinger is one of everyone's favorites, and it shows why with his amazing ranged arrows and flame dash ability. One of my favorite Skylanders to run through an original game with, Slinger is great for any fan.
Be afraid of the bug.
A majority of my audience will not like the placement of Tree Rex, but just be happy he made it on the list at all. I love playing as Tree Rex throughout my years of Skylanders, and having his moveset be so plain yet perfect is why he is a favorite to many people on this channel. Now, if we can only get Skylanders to acknowledge Treepex as a canon character on Tree Rex, then we will be set.
Down for the count.
I can play as Jawbreaker for hours. While he's not the best trap master in the game, stick around to see who is later. I love playing with his unique moveset that mixes power and speed, making you choose one or the other at crucial points of the game. He is a character that loads of people forget about and move on, but for me, mastering him was one of my favorite times playing Trap Team.
Face the mace.
Tri-Tip is a dinosaur, and I love dinosaurs. That would normally be enough for him to place here on my personal list, but I guess I need more reasons. His mace is powerful, mixed with his charge attack and the Sky Chi that can wipe out a load of enemies in seconds, make him also one of my favorites. Now his Wow Pow is something we need to address. I don't care if it's been 65 million years, it's too soon.
Fear the fish.
There's a reason I'm doing a solo run with him on the channel. The pure enjoyment I have of this Skylander since literally day one has lived on me throughout the other 4 versions of him that came out in the next 5 years. Although I had originally bought the first game for one certain Skylander, Gil Grunt grew on me fast and became one of my favorites for years to come. Scratch has become more famous than normal all of a sudden, as it was discovered she wasn't nerfed down like all the other Skylanders. Too bad it took people 3 extra years to see how great she was from the beginning. One of the fastest attacking Skylanders I've played as in the last few years, Scratch is one perfect kitty. Listen, I'm turning 30. This means the cringy dad jokes are just becoming worse. I adore Stormblade, so having her here is tough, but understandable as my future picks have a more personal impact on me. Stormblade has 2 of my favorite things, speed and range. Using Stormblade for the majority of my first Superchargers run gave me a great feel for how fun and enjoyable she really is.
Bombs away.
Now this one is probably a big shocker. Boomjet is still one of my favorites, and I adore his moveset and how he is basically me in Skylander form, but I've grown up and matured, meaning Boomjet just isn't for me anymore. But I still love his football bombs and turbulence move, meaning you can break up this perfect swapper. Punkshock is one Skylander I've grown to love for years. I thought she was a basic Skylander until I started using Skylanders for the first Royal Rumble, and I realized how great her moveset is. The mix of water and electricity may have been started by Zap, but it was perfected by Punkshock's electric shots. In a future core lock for SWAT Force, I'm excited to be able to show you how great she can be when I obviously win the whole thing.
The scales of justice.
Thanks Skylander Survivor for giving me a whole new light into Pitboss and how much I enjoy this Skylander's moves. He is a Skylander that I had to play with a handful of times to get his moveset perfect, but as proven in numerous videos and battle arenas, Pitboss is not for the weak of heart, as his moveset is something you have to get used to before giving him your own rating.
Making waves.
People always ask me why I like Flipwreck so much, as he's a very basic Skylander, but that's the reason why. He's a Skylander used for the first time and you're used to his moveset, nothing complicated at all, and he's one of the most fun from level 1 to 20. I can't wait to do the Trap Team Core Lock just to be able to play with this guy again.
Born to burn.
Locks have always given me a new appreciation for a lot of Skylanders, Lava Lance Eruptor being the biggest example. Throughout my Supercharged lock, Lava Lance Eruptor was my main man, as I got to see how great this very impressive redesign was compared to his very lackluster beginnings. If this was a start for redesigning Skylanders, then it's the best start they ever did.
Blinded by the light.
Flashwing is my daughter-in-law. That sounds weird, but since she's basically married to Bash, who is my son, she is one of my favorites. Luckily, that isn't the only reason why she's at this spot on the list. Being introduced in Giants, and since that was a lackluster game, she was a legit shining light in that game. Flashwing alone made that game bearable. Well, her and one other Skylander I'll mention later.
Your time is up.
Remember on Honesty Half Hour episode 75 where I said that Grim is amazing but wouldn't place on my top 10? It doesn't mean he isn't far off. Grim Creeper is still one of my favorite Skylanders since the first top 10 I made, and even up to now, he is the one Skylander I still enjoy playing any game with. Plus, he still has the best one-liners out of any Skylander.
Ready to rock it.
Flarewolf, or Flatwolf as my viewers on livestream have called him, became a new favorite of mine in the last few years, as his moveset is pure power and range, two things I can always enjoy. He's one character that I can see me playing an entire game with and not being bored or annoyed the whole time, no matter the situation. Maybe a future solo run idea? As I mentioned with Gil, Trigger Happy was the one Skylander I didn't know how much he would affect my life when I first got the starter pack. Once I started playing in the game, I started using nothing but Trigger for the majority of my first playthrough. The insanity of this Skylander made him one of my favorites, and that will never change.
I've got my eye on you.
As I mentioned with Flashwing, Eyebrow is the other shining light in Giants. To introduce Giants to a franchise is a hard take, but Eyebrow gave us a great introduction with his mix of brawling and giant flying eye that can shoot lasers, so he's clearly a favorite to everybody. Even when introduced as a mini, he was still a force to be reckoned with.
Hammer it home.
I used Wallop along with another Skylander on this list so much during my first Trap Team playthrough that he became one of my favorites to play as. His multiple hammer slams and his ranged hammer throws are easy to pick up and use and fun to master. I've always been a make a hit and never ask questions kind of guy, and Wallop gives me permission to do so.
Feel the fire.
Starter Pack Skylanders give you a great introduction to how a new game is supposed to play, and since they gave us Supershot Stealth Elf with Superchargers, then Spitfire was already a million times better. Luckily, his moveset and lightning-fast speeds made him one of the greatest Skylanders for anyone to start the game off with, and even better once you max him out. There's a reason the majority of people watching this video have him as their channel icon right now. The number one reason I even had a slight interest in Skylanders was because of Spyro. As an original fan of the first 3 games from the original PlayStation and that dang near perfect remaster, Spyro has a nostalgic fan loving his moveset in-game and a new fan enjoying the updated version of him. Regardless of how you felt about Skylanders remaking who he is, there's no denying that Skylanders helped bring him back to a modern audience. I always see mixed reactions about Chain Reaction, and I don't see why people dislike him. As one of the coolest designed Skylanders in the entire franchise, and one of the most fun to play as, Chain Reaction is the most unique overall when it comes to look, style, and moves. You can't deny the cool factor of using the chainsaws and doing different amounts of damage when using it every time.
Another smash hit.
I've mentioned numerous times about how Doomstone was the most overhyped Skylander I've ever got and 100% lived up to the hype. The hype keeps growing every year when I play as him for any video. Doomstone has the best overall moveset for pure power when it comes to single or multiple enemies. He is the one swapper Skylander that I don't think improves with switching out his pieces, although all the other ones improve with him being added to them.
Bringing the heat.
Everyone can agree with Wildfire being here on the list because if anyone has played with him for even a minute, you can see why he's so good. But for me, there's a special reason why Wildfire, well specifically Dark Wildfire, makes it here. There was a 3-year wait for me to get Darkfire, and for those 3 years, I waited impatiently for him. And if you want the full dramatic breakdown on why it took 3 years, let me know and that'll be an easy Saturday video for me. I could sit here and just ramble on about he's my boy or my baby or my son, but I'm going to be serious this time around. Bash is one Skylander who I played with for the first time and was instantly a fan, but then got even better with upgrades. Bash was one of my first ever Skylanders, and that is enough to leave an impact on me for life. There's a reason I basically worship this Skylander. It's the same for you watching and your favorite Skylander. You don't really need a reason to like them more than others. There's just this unspoken connection between you and them, and that I can fully understand. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is my top 30 Skylanders. Pretty accurate, because, I wrote the list. Obviously, it's accurate. But I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed making that. I gotta say, over the last 30 years, this year right now, that's coming into number 30. Actually, before 29 to 30, it's been some rough times, I'm not gonna lie. But honestly, this channel has been the one thing that's been very set for me and enjoy these years of my life. These years of my life have been fantastic. And I'm still gonna be doing this when I turn 31. Hopefully when I turn 32, we're gonna be keeping at this. And the 6-year anniversary of the channel is coming up pretty soon. You guys didn't know. My birthday, and at the end of the month, towards the end of the month, is actually the 6-year anniversary of the channel. So maybe I can update a new video on that? Or maybe something else. I don't know. I haven't talked about my least favorites in a while. Don't worry. I'm going to be doing that once Honestly Half Hour is over. Don't worry about that. But for now, we're going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed, let me know by leaving a like in the comment below. And of course, my birthday is Monday, so go leave me birthday comments on the next episode of Heroic Mondays. The comments feed me, make me live, make me look young. Because I only look like 25. At least I'm not as old as Jap 28. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoy every single one of you guys so much. You mean the world to me. Leave a like and comment below if you enjoyed this. But as always, I bid you farewell. Whoa, I zoomed in. Old man alert. There we go.